Austin, 1991. A seemingly ordinary night at a yogurt shop turned into a horrific crime scene. 4 teenage girls lost their lives, sparking decades of unanswered questions and a long search for justice. Years passed, but the case remained cold, until forensic science finally revealed the truth. DNA evidence identified the true killer, bringing a measure of closure after 34 years. The date was December 6, 1991. Just before midnight, in Austin, Texas, a patrol officer noticed something strange. Smoke poured from a small shop on West Anderson Lane. "And I can't believe it's yogurt store," he called it in. Firefighters rushed to the scene, extinguishing the blaze quickly. Too quickly, they thought. The fire seemed almost staged. Then they went inside. What they found would haunt Austin for 34 years, shattering the city's innocence. It would lead to false confessions, wrongful convictions, and a man sent to death row for a crime he didn't commit. And it would take 3 decades of scientific advancement to finally uncover the truth. The teenage girls lay dead inside that yogurt shop. They had been bound, gagged, sexually assaulted, and shot execution style. Their names: Amy Ayers, 13, Eliza Thomas, Jennifer Harbison, 17, and her sister Sarah Harbison, 15. They had been planning a sleepover that night. They never made it home. This is the story of the yogurt shop murders, the crime that stole Austin's innocence, and the 34-year journey to find the monster who did it. Amy Ayers was 13. Her family described her as just a cowgirl and an old soul at an early age. She was involved in the Future Farmers of America organization, where she had befriended some of the older girls. She was excited about life, excited about growing up. Eliza Thomas was 17. Her younger sister, Sonora, remembered her as very social and energetic. Eliza was into fitness and fashion. She was trying to discover who she was during that period of her life. She worked at the yogurt shop. Jennifer Harbison, 17, and Sarah Harbison, 15, were sisters. Their mother remembered them as lovely people. Jennifer worked at the yogurt shop alongside Eliza. She loved working there. Sarah was just visiting that night, planning to hang out with her sister and friends after closing. That night, December 6, 1991, they were all together at the shop. It was a Friday, the week ending. A sleepover was planned. It should have been a normal night. It was anything but normal. When investigators examined the scene, they found a nightmare. The girls had been herded to the back of the shop. They were forced to lie face down. Their hands were tied behind their backs with their own underwear. Their mouths were gagged with cloth. All 4 had been shot in the head, multiple times, execution style. There was evidence of sexual assault. The killer had left his mark in the worst possible way. Then, he had set the building on fire. He poured accelerant, lit a match, and walked away, hoping the flames would destroy all evidence. But fire doesn't destroy everything. A couple who had left the store around 11 p.m. told police that Jennifer Harbison had locked the door behind them. They also reported seeing 2 men who looked out of place sitting at a table with only a single drink. That was the last confirmed sighting of the girls alive. 8 days after the murders, police got a break. A 15-year-old boy named Morris Pierce was found carrying a .22 caliber firearm. The mall was the same place the 2 younger girls had visited the night they were killed. Police questioned him. He said he was with his friends that night: Forrest Welburn, Michael Scott, and Robert Springsteen. All 4 were teenagers at the time. Police brought them in for questioning. They administered polygraph tests. After the tests, all 4 were dismissed. There was no evidence tying them to the crime. No fingerprints, no hair, no DNA, nothing. Defense attorney Amber Farrelly later said, "Police didn't have fingerprints, hair, DNA, nothing that tied any of these boys or anyone to this crime at all. They had, at the beginning, a lot of gossip. The devastated families created billboards. They helped with tip lines. They offered rewards. But as years passed, no concrete leads emerged. Amy Ayers' father, Bob Ayers, never gave up. Every chance I got, I went to the police department to make sure they were working on the case," he said. But the case grew cold. In the late 1990s, Texas investigators launched a new effort to solve the cold case. They combed through 33 boxes of evidence and were drawn back to the original 4 suspects. Michael Scott and Robert Springsteen returned to the police department for questioning. Scott was interrogated for days. Springsteen's questioning began after an overnight shift, exhausted and vulnerable. They confessed, but almost immediately, they recanted. They said their confessions were coerced. Detectives admitted to holding a gun to Scott's head and withholding key evidence. Despite the recantations, all 4 were arrested in October 1999 and charged with capital murder. The charges against Pierce and Wellborn were eventually dropped due to lack of evidence. But Springsteen and Scott were tried. In 2001, Springsteen was convicted and sentenced to death. In 2002, Scott was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Justice, it seemed, had been served, but it hadn't. Not even close. In 2006 and 2007, the Texas Court of Appeals overturned both convictions. The rulings cited a Supreme Court decision that said written confessions of one person cannot be used against another. Springsteen and Scott were granted new trials. But something else had happened. DNA testing had advanced. Genetic testing of DNA found on one of the bodies didn't produce a match for either suspect. In 2009, a judge ordered both men freed. Their cases were dismissed, but they were not exonerated. They could still be tried again. The cloud of suspicion hung over them for another 17 years. They carried the weight of wrongful accusation every single day. Scott later said, "For decades I have carried the burden of wrongful conviction. Every day I have carried the weight of a crime that I did not commit. The real killer was still out there, but he was about to be found." In 2021, the Austin Police Department formed a new cold case unit. Detective Don Jackson was assigned to take over the yogurt shop murders case. Jackson was methodical. He reviewed every piece of evidence, every note, every lead. He found something that others had missed. A spent .380 caliber shell casing from a floor drain. It had been overlooked for years. Jackson sent it for analysis. The results were stunning. The casing was run through the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network. It matched a casing from an unsolved 1998 murder case in Lexington, Kentucky. The same gun had been used. Jackson had his first real lead. He also revisited the DNA evidence. Amy Ayers' family had insisted on one thing: check her fingernails. Amy was a fighter. They knew she would have fought back. In 1991, DNA technology wasn't advanced enough to get a profile from the small samples. But by 2025, it was. Jackson sent the fingernail clippings for advanced YSTR DNA testing. This type of testing focuses on the Y chromosome, passed down from father to son. It can identify male lineage, even from tiny samples. In August 2025, the South Carolina State Lab reported a complete YSTR match to a profile in its database. The profile pointed to a man named Robert Eugene Brashers. Further testing confirmed it. The DNA under Amy's fingernails matched Brashers with a likelihood of 2.5 million to 1. Amy had fought back, and in her final moments, she had scratched her killer. She left behind the evidence that would finally expose him 34 years later. As Jackson later said, Amy's final moments on this earth were to solve this case for us. It's because of her fighting back. The monster revealed, Robert Eugene Brashers, was a serial killer. By the time investigators identified him, he had been dead for 26 years. In January 1999, Brashers was 40 years old. He was cornered by police in Kennett, Missouri, after a standoff. Rather than be captured, he shot himself in the head. But his death didn't end his story. In the years after, as DNA technology advanced, investigators began linking him to a string of brutal crimes across the country. In 2018, Missouri authorities linked Brashers to the 1998 killings of Sherry Shearer, 38, and her 12-year-old daughter, Megan. They were found murdered in their home near Portageville, Missouri. Megan had been sexually assaulted. The same year, he was linked to the 1990 murder of Genevieve Zatritsky, 28, who was found beaten and strangled in her bathtub in Greenville, South Carolina. He was also linked to the 1997 rape of a 14-year-old girl in Memphis, Tennessee. Brashers had a long criminal record dating back years: attempted murder, burglary, impersonating a police officer. He was a predator who moved across state lines, leaving death and destruction in his wake. And now, he was linked to the yogurt shop murders, the Kentucky connection. The ballistic match that Detective Jackson found led to another victim, Linda Marie Rutledge. On November 7, 1998, at around 7:40 a.m., the Lexington Fire Department responded to a fire at the Nixon Hearing Aid Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Inside, they found Rutledge, 43, dead in the back hallway. She had been shot multiple times in the head. The building had been set on fire. For 27 years, her murder went unsolved. In July 2025, Lexington police got a call from Austin. The shell casing from Rutledge's crime scene matched the one from the yogurt shop. The same gun, the same killer. They reopened the case. DNA from a sexual assault kit was tested and matched Brashers. If he were alive today, he would be arrested and charged with Rutledge's murder, the Lexington Police Department stated. Linda Rutledge's family finally had answers. But like the families in Austin, they also had grief that would never fully heal. The exoneration, on February 19, 2026, a judge in Travis County, Texas, made it official. Robert Springsteen, Michael Scott, Morris Pierce, and Forrest Wellborn were declared innocent. All charges against them were formally dismissed. Their records were cleared. Travis County District Attorney Jose Garza had filed the motion to exonerate them. At the hearing, he apologized. "You were wrongfully accused and you are innocent, and I am so sorry for the role that our office played," Garza said. Judge Dana Blasey looked at the four men in the courtroom and said, "You are innocent." For Springsteen and Scott, who had spent years in prison, including time on death row, it was the moment they had waited for. For Pierce, who had died in 2010 during a mental health crisis, it came too late. For Wellborn, who had always maintained his innocence, it was vindication. Scott spoke after the hearing. "For decades, I have carried the burden of wrongful conviction. Every day, I have carried the weight of a crime I did not commit. No court ruling can return the years and the love that were taken from me. But it can acknowledge the truth. I am not guilty." The families react. For the families of the four murdered girls, the news brought a mix of emotions: relief, sadness, closure, and the knowledge that their girls had never been forgotten. Barbara Ayers Wilson, mother of Jennifer and Sarah Harbison, said, We never wanted anyone to go to jail or be charged with anything that they did not. Vengeance was never it. It was always the truth. Jennifer and Sarah and Amy and Eliza did not get to be a part of the community, and the community is less for it because they were really good citizens. They would have made a difference somehow, she added. Sarah Thomas, Eliza's younger sister, said she thought she might die not knowing what happened. I now know what happened, and that does ease my suffering, she said. Angie Ayers, who married Amy Ayers' brother, Sean, had become the point person for the families. She was the one who suggested investigators use genealogical experts. When Detective Jackson told her about the breakthrough, she felt a weight lift. We told them in the very beginning, check Amy's fingernails. Amy's mother, Pam Ayers, recalled. We knew that she would have fought. The daughter's apology. One of the most poignant moments came when Robert Brashers' daughter, Deborah Brashers Claunch, spoke publicly. She was just an infant when the Austin murders happened. She was only 8 years old when her father died by suicide. She grew up not knowing the full extent of his crimes. When she learned he had been identified as the yogurt shop killer, she reached out to local news stations. I am very sorry to every family that my father hurt, Brashers Claunch said. I know that it is not my place at all to tell you I am sorry, but someone has to because he was not sorry for it. And half of my DNA is the person that hurt you the most, so I want to tell you sorry, and I am so sorry for everything. But I am finally glad that you are getting answers. A daughter apologizing for a father's unspeakable crimes. A reminder that the ripples of violence extend far beyond the victims. The legacy, when the yogurt shop murders took place, it changed Austin forever. It really took our innocence away. Former prosecutor Mindy Montford said. Austin Mayor Kirk Watson echoed that sentiment. Austin lost its innocence the night those young souls became victims. The case became part of the fabric of the city. It was the subject of documentaries, podcasts, and endless speculation. An HBO docuseries, The Yogurt Shop Murders, aired in August 2025, renewing public interest just as the breakthrough was happening. Director Margaret Brown described the case's impact, the film, the series that I made. It was really just about how the trauma sort of extended outward, starting with, of course, the families and the people who were wrongfully accused, the cops who worked on it, people who were making other films about it. It was just, you would see these ripples of so many people affected by this one man's actions. On February 27, 2026, ABC's 2020ths aired a special episode titled Yogurt Shop Murders, bringing the full story to a national audience. The question that remains: the Yogurt Shop Murders case is solved. The killer has been identified. For innocent men have been exonerated. The families have answers, but questions remain. How many other victims did Robert Eugene Brashers leave behind? Investigators are still reviewing cases across multiple states. The ballistic and DNA links continue to be analyzed. How did the justice system fail so badly? For innocent men spent years in prison, one on death row because of coerced confessions and tunnel vision. The real killer remained free, continuing to kill. And most haunting of all, what if DNA technology had been advanced enough in 1991? What if Amy's fingernails could have spoken sooner? How many lives could have been saved? The case is a reminder that justice delayed is justice denied. But it's also a reminder that justice, however delayed, is still justice. Amy Ayers fought back. She scratched her killer. And 34 years later, that scratch brought him to justice. As Detective Jackson said, Amy's final moments on this earth were to solve this case for us. It's because of her fighting back. Rest in peace, Amy, Eliza, Jennifer, and Sarah. You were fighters. and you won. The end.